real quick thing is though, when somebody, one person asks, it covers the whole district. The defendant.
I'm just curious about
the
financial committee.
So it's gonna,
You know, with
no, just that one section.
a week,
They
for
got,
a whole
I don't
week
know,
or
they have
the
a lot of
whole
appointments.
month.
I heard Reed's up for an appointment.
Could everybody take their seat, please? Mike? You ready, Mike? Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming. My name's Cliff Weiner. I'm president of the POA. First on our agenda is we're going to stand for a pledge to the flag and remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. Please be seated. Next on the agenda is the reading of our July 18th meeting by our Secretary, Rep. Benson. The reason we didn't have an August meeting is our August meeting was canceled.
All right, thanks, Cliff. Good evening, everybody. So what we do is when we go through the minutes is to try and keep it sort of short is we just sort of cover the highlights of the meeting, then ask for a vote on them. So I usually skip through any of the beginning order part. I skip through the announcements because announcements are usually the same that we have with each meeting. Vary a little bit. If I think they vary a little, I'll give you a point. But most of the time, I just cover some of the highlights from the speaker we had. So I said our last meeting was July for here at Laurel Manor, and we had Bradley Arnold, the Sumter County Administrator, with Craig Estep, the Chairman of the Sumter County Commissioners. And they discussed the proposed fiscal year 2023-2024 budget. So some of the highlights were Sumter County has the lowest unemployment rate in Florida, but that creates wage and employee availability issues. The $400 million 2018 road improvement agreement has resulted in many roads being improved or built by the developer in the new village area. In the county, the villages south of SR 44, State Road 44, is in Wildwood City, and the rest is unincorporated within the villages. The commissioners basically set policy and law for the county, which also includes 5 municipalities, provides the most outsourced services in Florida to maintain the level of support required. The general fund's largest revenue source is the ad valorem, which is the property tax. Other major sources of revenue include countywide non-ad valorem, which is the fire assessment. The fiscal 22-23 budget highlights the ad valorem property tax. The mill rate was set at 5.19, the lowest ever, and 7.66 less than the fiscal year 22-23 rate. The non-ad valorem, there was a whole proposed thing with that, and I'm not going to go into what the minutes were there because that all got voted down in the end, so it's not worth bringing that up since that wasn't part of what we're at right now as far as with the budget for Sumter County. Another key item is the road impact fees. $17,701,510 is the budget for 23-24. Part of that is because they're starting to pay back the 2018 road improvement agreement. That amount was about almost $6.5 million for that. The fuel tax is at $23,700,021, and the largest expense there is the Marsh Bend Trail south of Corbin to McNeil Drive, which is about almost $5.5 million to put that in. They have a grant in 24-25 that will allow for repaving of all residential streets in the community districts of 1 and 2. Building construction projects run about a little over $45 million, over $45.5 million. The largest expense is the new government service center, fire training facility, and the sheriff's tactical range, which is about almost $37 million for that. Then obviously we have pertinent questions that we usually have associated with it. And so a couple of the key ones were, will the new service center live stream the meetings? The answer is yes, but not before the commissioner meetings are moved into that facility from where they currently have their meetings. With all the growth, how are the roads going to be able to handle the congestion? The answer was future road improvements and signal improvements should take care of most of the issues. Some roads have a poor rating for traffic and hence should be avoided if possible. Don't know how you can find out which ones have the poor rating. I think it's at the website probably, but yeah, coming from Northern Virginia and Washington, D.C., this isn't bad considering driving on I-95 to commute to work every day. So I'm not complaining. But that was basically it.
Thanks, Rep. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from somebody? Second. All in favor? All opposed? Okay. Our treasurer is not here tonight. He's homesick. But I will tell you that this month wasn't a real good month, but next month is going to be an extraordinary month because we got a couple of new full-page advertisers for the Bulletin, which the Bulletin is our biggest expense. Publishing it, editing it, writing it, delivering it costs us about $180,000 a year. So most of that money hopefully comes from advertisers. And we're working hard, and I will say that this month, our bulletin is normally 24 pages, but this month it's going to be 28 pages because there's lots of information, and we got 2 new full-page ads, so we need space to put them. So that's a good thing. I usually introduce any supervisors or officials in the villages that are here. There's 3. There's 4. I see another one just walked in. So in the back we have Dan Warren, who's on the NSCUD board. Our secretary that just read the minutes, Rep. Benson's on the AAC. We have Mark Hayes, who's a supervisor in District 4. Did I miss anybody? I don't think so. Oh, I'm sorry. We got Steve Lapp, who's a supervisor in District 8, and I'm a supervisor in District 4 also. Sorry, Steve. I miss you all the time. So, with that being said, this is probably something that's probably the most fun. So, Kay, would you come up here? Kay? Yeah, you. This is Kay Torname. Her husband was a long-standing member of this board. Come on up here next to me. You know I don't bite. You and I are friends. And unfortunately, Sal passed away a couple of months ago. And I can tell you he's been on the board longer than I have, and I've been on the board for 12 years. So he was before me. So he's been around for a long time. He was basically my right-hand man because every time I needed something done, he would be the first one to raise his hand and do it. So I know Kay misses him, and so do I. So we have decided, the POA board, to put Sal in the POA Hall of Fame. And it reads, the Property Owners Association of the Village Inc. inducts Sal Torname into the POA Hall of Fame in recognition of your steadfast service to the POA and residents from 2012 to 2023, and as a board member through 2023 for your ongoing commitment to the POA of the villages. Sal was also a District 8 supervisor, so he gave a lot to this community. Kay, on behalf of the board, I can never express my gratitude for all that Sal did.
Thank you.
Wait. Hold it, turn it around so we can get a picture. Because we want to put this in a bulletin. Got it, Deb? Thank you.
Thank you.
Come back and visit with us often.
I will.
Okay. Okay. At the back table, we have our friends from Seniors versus Crime, Suncool, Realty Execs. I think that's all we got. And we had a meeting at Everglades on Friday. And there was a different group of Seniors versus Crime people in the back. They were from the Wildwood office. But this applies to the whole villages. I was told that there are a bunch of pool companies out there that if you're putting in a pool, they're going to take your money, dig a hole, and not come back. Please, 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 before you do that, check with Seniors versus Crime to see how many complaints. I was told one company has over 100 complaints. They have 7 different company names they go under, so it's really, really a sad situation. Please don't let them take your money. It's one simple phone call. There are a couple of really reputable companies here, and T&D Concrete's one of them. So if you have them do it, it's going to be fine. But some of the other ones are really, really on the bad side. So try not to do that. Speaking of meeting south of 44, starting in January, we'll be at Everglades on the first Thursday of every month in January, April, July, and October. Since the area is growing so fast, we have to grow with it. And we're going to do 4 extra meetings a year down there. And if we have to, we'll do one every month like we do here. So just so you know, and there'll be more information in the bulletin. We'll keep putting it out there. We also, thank you, Donna. We also have a special meeting on October 24th, 9 o'clock in the morning in this building, rooms across the lobby, for anybody that might be interested in volunteering to help the POA or become part of our board. As I just said, the villages is growing so rapidly south of 44. We need lots of help. There's only so much the 13 of us that are on this board can do. I need help. So if you want us to continue to do the fine job that we try to do for every resident, we need some people to step up. So remember that, and Deb's going to have an article in the bulletin, and I think I have one more meeting that I can announce it at. And we'll be sending out an email blast. As you know, our meetings are video recorded. You can go to our POA page. Deb, you're up. You want to talk about Facebook?
How many of you have followed and liked the POA? Okay, we could use a few more people. We do a lot we're doing more on Facebook. We have almost 2,000 followers. We're creating events for all of our meetings so that you will be reminded. As Cliff said, we live stream our meetings, so if you ever can't come to a meeting, or if you want to clarify something that you heard someone say at a meeting, you can go to our Facebook page or our website and watch it again. I was just looking, we have had, Cliff, more than 1,000 views of our Friday night meeting down at Everglades. It was about the prison, and there were a lot of people who live down there who were interested in hearing that presentation, as there will be tonight on property taxes. So, like and follow us on Facebook, and you'll get notifications of when we're doing live streaming and when we have events coming up. Thanks.
Thank you, Deb. Well,
oh, sorry.
What?
Dan was just reminding me about the e-bulletin. Did you want me to mention that? Okay. We're now doing a mid-month electronic bulletin. There is so much going on right now between fire district funding, and other issues in the villages that we want to make sure to keep you up to date with factual information. So we can't afford to print 65,000 extra bulletins, but we can certainly put on a mid-month report. So on the 15th of every month, we'll be doing an e-bulletin. You can get on our email list by going to our POA4U.org website. And sign up to get that e-bulletin. And then you'll get a little bit more news that will be followed up with the print version. Thanks.
and if that doesn't work, just call the POA phone number and I'll take care of it for you. While I'm saying that, I heard a couple of people tonight say that they tried to sign up online and it was really kind of cumbersome and difficult, which I know. One of the projects that we are attempting to do, we are going to be redoing our database and our website very shortly. I am adamant about making it as easy as possible for people to get onto our website and to join. As Deb or any of the board members can tell you, it's been a pet peeve of mine since we started this. And it's going to happen pretty fast. We've contacted some people that really, I think, really know what they're doing. We have a meeting hopefully on Friday to get it started. So just so you know, it's coming. We're going to change the whole thing around, but I'm going to make it easy for you guys to get on and get the information, because that's what's important. We want you to have all of the information that is possible. Okay. The Community Watch, Chief Wolf, started this program, CHIRP program. It's a whistle. For you guys that walk, have dogs, and take your dogs out for a walk, and you're walking at night, daylight savings time is going away pretty soon. It's going to get dark even sooner and light later. There's a whistle on here. God forbid something should happen to you and you fall. You're incapacitated. You blow this whistle 3 times, and believe me, outside it really carries. You can hear it for a long, long way. Someone's going to come and get you. Community Watch has helped 5 or 6 people that they found laying on the ground. So we have a whole bunch of them in the back. Please feel free to take 1 or 2 or 3 for your neighbors. Everybody should have one. How many people know what this is? Wow, that's great, but there's still a whole bunch more that don't. This is the Vial of Life. You take this form, there's 2 pages. Second page, you put down all your medical information, fold it up and put it in that Vial of Life. Put that vial on the top shelf of your refrigerator. You see 2 green stickers. Put 1 green sticker on your front door. Put the other one on your refrigerator. When the EMTs come knocking, or they won't be knocking, they will not ask any questions. They'll go right to the refrigerator and take this. What it's going to do is it's going to save precious seconds. You're not going to have to answer any questions. They're going to get all their information. Could save your life. Chances are it will. We have a whole bunch of them in the back. Please feel free to take as many as you need. How many get e-notifications? Because we're in hurricane season. Not over yet, guys. We're right in the middle of the heart of it, actually. If you don't, you need to go to districtgov.org and sign up. You can sign up for whatever you want to be notified of, but I will tell you that you get more information than you're ever going to want. It's really, really important, especially during hurricane season, to keep you safe. So make sure you do that. Okay, now it's the time for our cash raffle. We give away 3 $30 prizes. Except I need my glasses to read the number. I'm old. Well, these are really small numbers. Last 4 numbers, 2721. I don't know where the money is. Donna, Donna's got the money right there. Okay, thank you, Donna. I just got the tickets. 2737. Oh, last one. 2653. Me's got it right here. Right here, Donna. Okay. Now's the part of the program where we call it our open forum. You can ask any kind of question you want. If I don't have an answer, we'll get you an answer. Please do not ask any answers that pertain to your tax bill. We will take all of those questions after Mr. Hooten's done with his presentation. So, if you have any questions, raise your hand. Somebody come around with a mic and... Okay, I see one.
I have a question.
I can't hear you. It may not be working.
Hello?
1, 2.
Okay, it's working.
3, 4.
Okay.
I have a question about the golf cart path that goes from like Winifred to downtown. They fixed it once, and it is so horrible.
Where is that?
Along Buena Vista, where you go from Winifred Village to down in Lake Sumter. Both sides are horrible. Bumpy,
Okay.
really bad. It's hard
okay.
on your back.
Yeah, okay, we were, I actually, was supposed to have a multimodal path discussion group, which I am the chairman of, in October, but it had to get canceled due to other unforeseen circumstances, and we're gonna reschedule it. Please see me, Deb, you know where it is? Okay, I will get the exact location. We'll have someone take a look at it and try and get it fixed.
I appreciate it. Thank
Not
you.
a problem. That's the kind of things we need to know so we can get them fixed.
I'm just curious if you know what's going on in the polo field over on the softball side. They're digging in there, and it looks like they're going to be putting something in over there.
I do not know,
Okay, thanks.
Hi.
but
My
I'll
name-
try and find out.
Hi, my name is Carol, and I wanted to know, when are they going to change out the gates that you won't have to put your window down to have the
Never.
gates go up? Never?
That's what we're told every
thank
single
you.
day that we ask the same question. I don't see it happening because it slows traffic down so the golf carts can get past, get across the street. For those of you that are new, when I first moved here, north of 466, all the cart path crossings were in front of the gate. And when the lawsuit was settled and AAC was formed and got money, that was the first thing they did with the money is widen the cart paths and take them behind the golf cart or behind the gates everywhere they could except in Polo Ridge and El Santiago, because it just wasn't enough district property to do that. So,
Cliff, there's one other thing on the, you can get people here in the villages that will take and install a pass in your side view mirror, and the one I have works very well.
they're not talking about that. They're talking about, oh, is that what you're talking about, ma'am? Okay, well, we were told, I was told, a couple other people that are on boards are told, when the software issue is finished, those will not work. Don't take it from me, that's what I've been told. We've asked that question 4 times. But, yeah, right, district is gonna offer an opportunity for you to purchase something that will do the same thing, okay? So it sounds like if it works and there's money to be made, they're gonna make it. So, but you will be able to continue. Jim?
Hi, Cliff. I just, in response to that, for whatever reason, at the Morris in 466 gate, I just put my pass right through the window without putting it down. Works perfectly fine.
Well, some do and some don't, Jim.
Well, I'm just saying it works.
Okay, anybody else? Yes, wait for a mic because the people that are gonna watch it will wanna hear what you have to say. Gary, you're gonna lose weight.
Thanks. I have lived here for a long time, and I have to profess that I am ignorant when all the things that were owned by the developer go to our VCDDs. And do the rec centers eventually go from the developer to us?
I don't understand what you're asking me.
Okay.
Do you?
Do we own, you know how the golf courses and stuff all get,
Yeah,
how the developer sells things to
Yeah.
us?
right.
Okay. Who owns the rec centers is basically what I'm saying.
Well, actually, technically, the AAC north of 466 and south of 466, it's Sumter Landing Community Development District. But the final decisions are made by Village Center District, which is a developer-appointed board.
Okay.
I don't know how
That-
else to
no,
answer
that-
the
that
question
takes care of
except
what I
that's the
have to
truthful
ask
answer.
later. That's okay.
So technically, it's a government body that's controlled by the developer. Correct. Anybody else? I live south of 44, and I live in the village of Citrus Grove. And there's 2 new villages that just opened south of me in Lake County. And there's only 1 pool in Lake Denham and Newell. And the only neighborhood pool is my pool. Is there any particular reason the developer decides that they weren't going to put any neighborhood pools in? I can't answer that question. Everything south of 44 is still owned and controlled by the developer. He has not turned anything over or sold anything to the districts. Don't know if he ever will. That's the same issues that we had north of 466 when it was built, because I live in Piedmont and we have no pool. So there are other villages that have no pool, and he's doing things a lot differently now than he was for a while. And I just don't have an answer. Well, it could be money, who knows, but I don't have an answer and he won't give us one. So I'd love to find out for you, and I will try, but I don't think I'll be very successful. Anybody?
Does the Morris family still once a year hold an annual meeting where the public can ask them questions like that?
They do. You have to be a VHA member. You have to get a ticket from the entertainment department, from the box office, and they do, and I believe it's usually in March or April. Right. There are no questions asked. He just tells you what he wants to tell you, and you're not going to get to ask a question. Unfortunately, I'm just reporting what's true. It would be nice if he answered questions, but that's never going to happen. I don't think. I never say never. Anybody else? Okay. With that being said, just let me tell you who some of our speakers are going to be in the coming months. In October, we have Captain Seamer from the Sumter County Sheriff's Department. In November, we're going to have a presentation on solar panels. In December, we're going to have Steve Lapp's going to do a presentation on cutting the cord. In January at Everglades, we're going to have Chief Twist, Public Safety Department Chief, who's going to talk to us about, hopefully, the issues that have been solved with the funding for the Public Safety Department that they will be going through in the next couple of months. It's very, very important that we find out what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. In January, at this facility, we're going to have Dr. Craig Curtis, who's an Alzheimer doctor. He's got a great presentation that I have seen. I actually saw it a week ago Thursday. If you have anybody that might be dealing with Alzheimer's or you suspect might get it, you want to see it. He's more of a researcher, but there is a medication that has been approved this month for the progression of Alzheimer's, slowing it down a little bit. He's going to talk about that. So you'll find that interesting. In February, we're going to have Dr. Anderson, who always has an interesting presentation. He's been doing presentations for the POA for 20-some years. And in March, we'll have the hospital here to tell us all the improvements they've made since last March when they were here. So hopefully you'll find, and we'll have a lot more, hopefully you'll find all of those speakers kind of interesting. So now, without further ado, we're fortunate and lucky to have our Sumter County property appraiser here, Mr. Hooten.
Good evening. My name is Joey Hooten, and I'm your Sumter County property appraiser, and I want to say I am excited and honored to be here tonight. Can y'all hear me back there? Not that good? I got it. Is that better? Okay. We're excited to be here tonight, and we are honored to be here tonight. We speak at various groups around the villages and around the county about what we do and how we do it, and we feel like education is the best way to handle that because it's tricky. It's tricky because we have statutes. As Sumter County property appraiser, I would love to make up my own rules, but I can't do that. We have to follow state statute. And so without further ado, I want to introduce the folks to my left. I've got Shauna Jordan. She is my chief deputy. She's been with the Sumter County Property Appraiser's office for 23 years. And then I've got Matthew Hall, which is my residential manager. And he has been with our office almost 3 years. So I brought them tonight to help with the PowerPoint, and they're going to have a little part in our meeting. As I said, we're here to educate you a little bit because misinformation is the most dangerous part of what can happen when people start talking. And if it's not true, then that's very, very bad. So we're here to help you with that. I do want to say tonight, when we're through with this meeting, at any time, if you want to call my office and speak to me, that's always been my policy. And if some of you ever have, you know that you probably got a 45-minute conversation, and it ended very well and very good. Whether I agreed with you or not, but you know, it always ended well. So we have a lot of fun in what we do, and we take it very seriously, and we do work for you, the people. So we're going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about what an appraiser does. There's two types of appraisers. The most common type of an appraiser is what's called a fee appraiser. Are we familiar with what a fee appraiser is? Okay, when you buy and sell a home, whether it be in the villages or anywhere in America, if a bank's involved, there's going to be a fee appraiser. An appraiser is going to come out, and they're going to make sure that you as the buyer, your investment's protected. They're going to make sure that the bank that's lending you the money, that their investment is protected. And they're going to make sure that that home is appraising for what you're paying for it, okay? Now, that being said, a fee appraiser has one job, highest and best use. He is trying to get the most money on paper for the bank or for the deal to go, okay? He is trying to get highest, his goal is highest and best use, okay? So that is not what we do. That is not what Sumter County Property Appraiser does, and it's not what I guess most property appraisers in the state of Florida, because we are here trying to arrive at a value that is used for your assessment, okay? Obviously, your tax dollars will be reflected in that later. Now, as I tell people, we do not assess your tax rates. I do not tax you, but we do put a value on your property. And then obviously the Board of County Commissioner does their job, and then that's how your tax bill arrives in November. So let's talk about mass appraisal for a minute, and then we're going to go a little further into this. So mass appraisal, we have a different job. And I'm just going to break it down to kind of reduce it to the ridiculous. So we're going to talk about apples, oranges, and lemons. They all have a value in something. We know that when we go to the grocery store, an apple, an orange, and a lemon, they all have a value. So and they all have different purposes and serve different things. So we're just going to talk about lemons for a minute. We have 5 lemons. The highest lemon sells for $2. Lowest lemon sells for $1.50. 3 in the middle sell for $1.72, $1.74, and $1.76. Okay? Your fee appraiser, if he's going to give you an appraisal of those lemons, he's going to try to lean it as hard as he can to the $2 mark. He's going to get somewhere about $1.85 probably. And he's going to say, well, I can make this work on paper. And he's going to come in at $1.85 for that appraisal. Okay? As a mass appraiser, an appraiser for government purposes, we're going to kick that $2 lemon out. We're going to kick the $1.50 lemon out. We're going to study those 3 in the middle because we feel like that's where most of the sales are. Okay? We're going to come in probably at $1.74 based on that math, if that makes sense. Okay? We're kicking the highest out, and we're kicking the lowest out, and we're going to focus on the middle, get some middle ground here. Now, they're all still lemons, okay? They're all still going to do the same thing, okay? But we're going to be lower, typically, than what it's really worth. So don't sell your home for what we have it on our website for, okay? So that's just my little, it's kind of a generic way to explain kind of mass appraisal. Matt and Sean are going to go into a little more detail about some of this. Let's talk about this crazy market that we're dealing with. Who would have known in 2019 to 2022 what we were going to see? It is unprecedented. Even the market of 2004, 2005, 2006 has nothing on this market. Now, whether you call it good news or bad news, we're seeing it start to taper off. Okay, it's going to slow down. It has slowed down. I'm going to give you some numbers in a minute. Unfortunately, our assessments, our adjust values are always done on last year's sales because we take data from last year, studied January 1 is our date. We study that data from about January 3rd through April or May, and then we put a tax roll together, okay? So let me give you some numbers here. 2019, we weren't there yet. 2019, this county had 6,991 sales. Still pretty good market. By the way, I want to back up. In 2012, I was elected in 2012, took office in January of 2013. We had seen the market from 04, 05, 06, and some of 07. The market was this. In 08, 09, 10, 11, it was doing this. 2013, I take office, and the market started doing this, and it's never looked back. I mean, we've been going 3 to 5%, which is a normal market, 3 to 5%. So I wanted to just make sure you get that. From 2013 on, it's been doing this. 2019, 2020, 2021, and 2, and now we're seeing it starting to do that again. But 2019, we were at 6,991 sales for the county. 2020, we were at 7,453 sales, so it was up approximately about 550. 2021, 10,782 sales. Again, that is up from 7,400. So what is that math? That math is 3,500 homes, something like that. You know, so that is 3,000 or so homes. It's difference. 2022, we saw 9,320. So you can see there it's come back about 1,400 sales in the last year. Now the market is still holding steady, but the sales are definitely dropping, okay? During the time of 2021 and 2022, we did a little study that we had almost 1,700 homes, 1,685 homes that had sold multiple times in those 2 years. Think about that. 1,685 properties. When they sold, none of them sold for under $100,000 profit in 1 year. We're going to show you some sales tonight that sold for $500,000 a year later, more than they paid for it. Now, I take this very seriously. The Appraiser's office does not buy and sell homes. Who sets the market? We're just as I believe Cliff said a while ago, he didn't make the news, he's just reporting it. That's kind of what our office does. We just report what we get. So that being said, we don't make it up. It's all factual data. And when I tell you 685 homes that are selling from $100,000 profit to $500,000 profit in an 18-month period, that is insane. I mean, it is something that just no one can understand it. We had 2 years that were in the 28 to 30% range, and that's on our numbers. That ain't probably even real math of what it really is. Okay, as I said, we're never going to be at 100% because Ronnie Hawkins, my predecessor, taught me that if you're going to do a tax roll for the people, you're going to try to get it passed by the Department of Revenue, which is in Tallahassee, for the lowest level of assessment you can, and that's what we do. We're never going to be at 100% as long as I'm in this office. So some counties are. We're going to show you some data as well that in the time that I've been in office, we're averaging in 10 years 93%. Okay, State of Florida Department of Revenue will take your tax roll from you if you're below 90%. So I'm pretty happy with 93. I always want to be about that 92, 94 range because I can live with that, and I feel like all of you can live with that. I feel like it's something that's going to work itself out. So that being said, that is some data on this crazy market, and Sean is going to start our presentation with some other fun facts. You want to do that?
Testing, testing. I'm here. I want to make sure I can maneuver this laptop. I was told I need to stand right here, so I'm going to honor that by these nice gentlemen. So some fun facts. I don't know if you all know that there are 67 counties in the state of Florida. And Sumter County had the 10th lowest level of assessment in the state of Florida from tax roll years 2013 through 2022. We're going to focus on 2022 for most of our data this evening. We haven't certified our final roll. We just finished up some of those things, so I'm just going through 2022 certified values. Sumter County has the lowest average level of assessment in 10 years in the surrounding 5 counties. So that average since 2010 has been 93.29. 5 counties, that means Hernando, Lake, Pasco, Marion. We have the lowest level of assessment. That data is from the Department of Revenue. I have spreadsheets. If anyone would like that information when we get done, we'd be more than happy to send it to you. But we are at a lower level of assessment than Lake County, Marion County, Pasco County, Citrus County, Hernando County. That's the level of assessment. Mr. Hooten was just speaking about that. Department of Revenue, like what our tax roll is approved at for all the sales, the level of assessment. We don't pass, our tax roll is not approved by Tallahassee if it does not come over 90%. And Sumter County has increased in taxable value by $12,807,050,760 since the 2013 tax roll. That's how much value has increased in Sumter County in since 2013, 10 years. All right, so that's that part. We have a website, sumterpa.com. Show of hands, how many people have accessed sumterpa.com? Really? Not that many. I'm a little surprised. Okay, on our website, you can access property owner information, maps, sales information, and reports. You can run some reports on our website. So we're just going to kind of show you, we've had a revamp. So we're going to talk about that today. So this is a home page. This is what, when you type sumterpa.com, this is what pulls up. And you can see on the top of the screen, we've got some familiar icons. They look like your cell phone. We hope that's user-friendly. So you've got searches. We've got some general information that you can pull up. We've got a tax calculator. You can contact us. We've got department contacts, main numbers, addresses, everything. We've got some forms, but these clickable links here, you can go directly to search records. You can go directly. We now have online homestead applications. COVID changed a lot of that for us. That was something that Mr. Hooten, your Sumter County property appraiser, wanted to make sure that we had accessible. Not all counties in the state of Florida have a homestead online. So it's a really big deal. I believe we're year 3, right, Joey? Year 3 of having those online. And then a GIS map, it takes you directly to the map, which is pretty handy. I know there are some individuals in the room that love our map. So the next screen, if you click on that property search, the record search, this is what's going to come up. You've got a couple options to search on our website. You can search by owner name specifically, and it's a smart text, so the second you start typing on our new system, it pops up, it populates names. You can search by a parcel number. If you've got parcel numbers that's come on your tax bills, your trim notices. You can search by a location. Again, it's smart text. You can start typing in, I don't know a road here right off the top of my head, but you can start typing in your home and it'll pull up the addresses, okay? There's some additional, you can search by legal. You could type in the village of Southern Trace, and if that's in the legal description, it'll populate a list for you as well. Township and range and the GIS address search is a little more in depth. Okay, so this is what populates. If I was to put in, and I know this is probably really hard to see, and I apologize. I know it looked better on my computer, I promise. But I wanted to show you snippets of the report page when you pull up our website. You've got address information, homes, if it's a single family residence, a mobile home, it gives you the detail of tax years, there's sketch of your building. It's got your sales information with clickable links to the deeds. It pulls up My Florida. You can pull the deeds as long as you click on that. It takes you to an external link, but you can click on the deeds and look at the documents. And then each one of these it's not side by side, it's a continuing screen as you scroll down. A little hard to do, and I'm just taking snippets. But so you've got your trim notice. As soon as those go live in August, those are on the website. You can reference them at any point in time you want to. We've got property record cards. So it pulls a PDF of your property record card. You can do a comp search right from the parcel. You can select that comp search, and it's going to go to an engine, a built-in database that's going to allow you to pull comparables. That's what that means, comparables to your home, okay? We have a link to the Sumter County Tax Collector site. You can select My Tax Bill. It's going to pull up the Randy Mask Sumter County Tax Collector site. It's going to pull up your tax bill. We have a property valuation review. That's something that's new. You can go on there. You can select a parcel. You can let us know if there's an issue in the ownership, if there's an issue with the value, if there's a building issue. You can just go right online and submit a form. I get probably 6 a day. They come directly to me right now. And then we've also got a link for you to estimate taxes, and that goes to that tax collector, and that's a tax calculator that I'm going to show you next, okay? So when you hit that estimate taxes, or you click the little calculator on the home page that says estimate taxes, this is what's going to pull up. And you're able to put in your millage, your district. Now, I want to make sure everyone in the room understands that your districts do not set a millage rate, but they are defined, okay? Everything in the villages is under the county millage rate, okay? So these don't populate anything, but you can put, if you're in the city of Wildwood, you need to put City of Wildwood. If you were in the city of Bushnell, you would select that, okay? That's what that means. Yes, ma'am. Yep, county is its own millage, yes, ma'am. Okay, you put in your just market value. In most cases, it would be, I know what I'm gonna purchase this home for. So if you're going to be purchasing a home for $460,000, you can pop that in there. If it's going to be your permanent residence, you're going to click homestead. It's got some other exemption options when you select that exemption tab. If you know your portability, you can type that in as well. And as soon as you hit calculate, it pops up estimated taxes, and it shows you what your taxes are going to be. Okay, and then it gives you a breakdown by each rate. Now these are certified 2022 because 2023 has not certified yet, okay, but that'll be updated. So you've got your county millage, your school, local and state, your city, which is Wildwood, and you can see it's City of Wildwood, and Southwest Florida Water Management District is the last one. So those are the breakdown of your millages, okay? So that's the tax estimator on our website. Another really handy dandy report that you can do on our website is you can do a sales search. Did you know that? Has anyone used the sales search that raised their hand? Steve has, I knew it. So you can search by a parcel number range. You can do a sales search by sales dates if you wanted to look at the last 30 days, if you wanted to look at the last year, if you wanted to look at the last 5 years. You can do a sale date. You can do a sale price. If you want to look for sales that are from 150,000 to 250,000, you can put in that criteria. Acreage amount, home square footage amounts. You can do by year built. If you only want to look at homes that were built in 2016, you can just pull up those that sold that are 2016. You can put in different neighborhood codes, and you can search by subdivision. So you can put in all those criteria. Like if you know your subdivision, your village of your unit numbers, you can search by that, okay? And that'll populate a report that you can export on our website, and it pulls it into an Excel document, okay? And the last little bit of our website is the map, and this is probably our most popular feature because it's really cool, and it's really easy to use, and you can move your mouse in and out and zoom, and you can drag it, and you can look all over the place on our GIS map. We have layers that you can select on the left side of the screen when you pull it up. We do not maintain all of these layers, but we have layers on there. Like we have a flood zone, a FEMA flood zone layer, okay? I had someone actually contact me today about that on the forums. And I said, well, I don't have it. The Sumter County Property Appraiser's office does not have that data, but you can click that on our website on the map, and you can pull that up. So we don't maintain all of the layers, but we give them as access to anyone that's using the website, okay? So there's a couple links on there, like there's some zoning. Those are not things that we maintain, okay? But you can click, and it'll pull up information on the side, and you can highlight sales, and it's really, really fancy. Really, 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 really nice. So this is our map, okay? So that's our website. And I'm going to move on to the next portion of the presentation, which is bum, 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 false information. 23 years, Cliff, I've heard it all. I have a little story to tell you that when I started working in the property appraiser's office, I would cut through. I'd have to come work the annex office on Wednesdays. It was my job to come take applications on Wednesdays, and I run a little late. I'm not always timely, so I would cut through what is now Buena Vista. I don't know what that road is. Where it goes out to 301, and it's very busy, and they changed the light there. It was only you could turn 472. I'd come through 472, and I would cut across a cow pasture, a little itty bitty road. A little itty bitty, like there was pasture and barbed wire fences on both sides of the road, and I would head to the annex building, and there was no houses around. Does anybody been here that long that remembers that? There was no houses around where the fire department is on 466. There was nothing here, and I would cut through. So I've been here a long time, and that was why I was telling that story. I've been here a long time, and I've heard it all. I've heard it all. So we polled the departments in our office, and I said, we're going to go present at the POA office, and Mr. Hooten is going to be presenting, and he wants a presentation, and I need to know what are some of the most common misinformation that you guys get when people call, or the questions that you ask. So we polled the office, and this is what we got for you this evening, okay? All right. So let's talk about some myths about exemptions, okay? Number one, and if you've heard it, raise your hand after I say it. You have to live in the Florida/village home 6 months and 1 day. Who's heard that? To get homestead. Yep. That's false. That is false. That's not true. That's not true here in Florida. All right? All right, number two. There is an age requirement for homestead exemption. That is false. No, there is not an age restriction for homestead. Number three, you don't have to reapply for homestead when you buy a new house. That is not true. That is not true. So here's the facts, okay? The facts about the exemptions. You have to make a new homestead application when you sell and purchase a new home. Homestead exemption does not follow you to your new home. A new application must be made. You can transfer portability, your Save Our Home benefit, with you to the new home, but you can't take your homestead with you, okay? So that's the facts. Number two, you do need a Florida driver's license, a Florida ID, and a Florida registered vehicle, if you have one, to apply and qualify for homestead in Sumter County by January 1st. So you have to have all that by January 1st on the year you're making the application. So those are the facts about it. Number three, you cannot have an out-of-state exemption anywhere else per Florida Constitution and receive homestead here in Sumter County. Can't do it. If you got it in New York, you got the STAR program in New York, can't have it when you apply here. It's got to go bye-bye.
You can't have it anywhere else in Florida either. You only get one residence.
Good point. Yep, one homestead. Okay. Number four, Sumter County does have an additional $15,000, which that $15,000 amount is per the Board of County Commissioners. That's the BOCC, the Board of County Commissioners adopted ordinance. Okay, that's the way the statute reads. It can be up to an amount. That amount is set by your Board of County Commissioners. Okay, so that's the ordinance amount that they have set here in Sumter County is $15,000. Okay, it's a 65 and older exemption for low income families whose household income does not exceed $35,167. That's your adjusted gross income. So what does that mean? It doesn't include your Social Security. Okay? Now that $35,167, that was the 2022 adjusted annual income limit. Again, we don't set it. We're just maintaining the statutes and the rules. $35,167 is what it was for this tax roll. We'll get something from Tallahassee in February that'll tell us, February, March, it'll tell us the new amount. Okay, so every year that income changes. Yes, ma'am. It does, right, it is your adjusted gross income. So if you file an income tax return, it's your adjusted gross income, which does not include Social Security. If you do not file an income tax return, there's a breakdown that you... Okay, you know more than I do about that then. We're going to go by adjusted gross income. Yes. Okay. All right. I'm done with that screen. Okay, so let's talk about portability. This is a doozy right here, okay? Okay, you may be entitled to an additional tax savings with homestead portability, also known as Save Our Homes, okay? It's Save Our Homes benefit portability. Portability allows you to transfer up to $500,000 of existing Save Our Home benefit from one homestead to another homestead anywhere in the state of Florida. To be eligible, you must have portability benefit, complete the Save Our Homes portability application, and include it with your homestead exemption application. Now here in Sumter County, every one of our staff at the property appraiser's office, we're going to ask every time you come in for a homestead, and even on the application online, it's one of the questions. Did you have homestead anywhere else? That's what we're going to ask you. It's part of our protocol, just like, I don't know, you put the key in the ignition and you turn, and then you back up, and then it's that detailed. We're going to ask you that every time. So we're going to ask you if you had homestead somewhere else. It's part of what we do, okay? So
somewhere else in Florida.
Correct, anywhere. If you've had homestead, yeah. We're going to ask you, online it's even going to say to you, I think it asks if you had it out of state. Because if you had it out of state, there's a lot of things that you have to prove that you don't have it. It's a whole process.
This was all brought about to save our homes for markets like we're in right now. When the market runs up 200 grand, your taxes are going to go up. So this is all brought about. Now it was done back, I believe, in the 80s. I wasn't paying attention to property appraiser stuff in the 80s, but in the 80s, I believe it was in the 80s, it was on coastal counties, because your coastal counties is where all the northerners came first. Okay, they would settle in Lee County. I think Fort Myers was like the county that started it, where they petitioned the state. And so this is where all this came about, and it's been a very good thing. We're going to give you some examples here in a minute of how it can help you save your tax dollars. Now again, if you don't get homestead at a certain time, it can also, I mean, obviously if the market goes up 100 grand that year or 50 grand in a bad or good market, however you look at it, it can affect you. And again, these aren't our rules, these are state statutes.
Okay. So it's a very, this next portion of portability, I want you to hit, there is litigation, it's an asset. Your Save Our Homes benefit is more valuable than your homestead exemption. It's in litigation, it's in divorces every single day. It is a very valuable asset, okay? It saves you a lot of money on your taxes, okay? So this next portion is why it's so detailed, okay? Each applicant will fill out a form. It's a Department of Revenue DR 501T. Again, that's the question we ask. If we ask you that, we're going to fill this out simultaneously with your homestead exemption form, okay? It's a transfer of homestead assessment difference. Required, hear me, this is a very detailed form. Required information on this form includes the date that the previous homestead was sold or no longer used as homestead, the address and parcel identification number of the previous homestead, a list of all other owners of the previous homestead. So if you had somebody that you're no longer with, or even if there is someone that passed, it is very detailed. You have to have every owner on that homestead, okay? An affirmative statement that none of the previous owners remained in the homestead and continue to receive a homestead exemption, and a sworn statement that he or she received the homestead exemption on the previous parcel. Anyone that was on the prior homestead has to be there to fill out. We won't take the application without all the signatures. That is how detailed your homestead portability, that DR 501T transfer of homestead assessment difference form is. It's very detailed. So, but that's because it's a very valuable asset, okay? And that will mean something to you a little bit further in this presentation, okay? All right, so the next slide, this is just, I went back to the home screen. When you click that Forms tab that's on the home page, you can access a list of more exemptions available to you and downloadable forms on our website. They're all PDF. I don't think they're Word documents anymore on the new website. I think they're all .pdf, but fillable forms that you can pull up, fill out. You can print them to us, you can email them to us, you can bring them into one of our 2 offices, but they're all accessible on our website, okay? And they come directly from the Department of Revenue. But that's on the forms link on our homepage. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And you okay. No. Oh goodness. So you called someone in the property appraiser's office that told you that? Okay.
What year was that?
So there is a time frame on the statute reads that you only have so much time from the time you sell the home to transfer it, right? And I believe they just increased that to 3 years in the legislation this year. But again, that's misinformation, and I don't know.
How long was it after you sold your home and bought the new home that you called?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Right, which is a real thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know why you would have been told that you don't qualify. That's we take applications without, again, because you can transfer it. You can come from Miami-Dade County and buy in the Villages, or from all the way in Pensacola on the state line, I'm talking about the furthest counties in the state. And we have to contact the counties in order to find out your portability amount. We take every portability application. So we don't tell anybody you don't qualify for.
I just got to say one thing. Please don't ask questions until we're done, because without a mic, it doesn't get recorded well, and people won't be able to hear it.
So Cliff, am I ignoring them?
Yes.
Okay, I'm not being rude. I'm just ignoring you because you told me to.
They'll answer every question you have, but let's do it the right way, please.
I want to finish this one if we can, Cliff. Is that okay? Did you purchased in 06 then in the Villages? Was it in the Villages or was it outside the village? Okay. The only thing I can think of that could have happened with that is that when you purchased in 06, the market was at a very, very high market at that time. And by 2013, we had come back. I mean, the market had come back very hard. And I know Mr. Hawkins left in 2012. He left his swan song. His tax roll was at 90.2%. That's what he left me with, 90.2. Very well could have been the reason you didn't qualify is because you were back to your match level. You were back to what you started at because you started at 2006 in a high market. So that's the answer it's the only thing I can think of, because I do know our staff and they.
So sometimes there isn't anything to transfer, right? In the last 10 years, there's been scenarios where there wasn't any increase. If the market's not increasing, if it's not something substantial, it doesn't create a large deficit between your market and your assess. And we're going to get into that in a little bit later in the presentation.
In 09, 10, 11, 12, the market had come back in the office. I mean, I know Mr. Hawkins brought the values really low, and that's so that's the only thing I can think of. The reason someone would say you didn't qualify, because if you had $1,000, they would have given it to you. So that's the only thing I can think of in that time frame. I think that's
Right.
probably what happened.
Yeah, we'll give a scenario example of that, okay? All right, so this is your trim notice. Everyone should have got this in the mail in the last 3 weeks. Raise your hand if you looked at it. Raise your hand if you threw it away. I knew it. There's one in every crowd. I'm that person. I throw mine away. I shouldn't say that, but I trust our values, so that's why. So your 2023 trim notice. Trim stands for truth in millage, okay? Every single property in Sumter County receives a trim notice. Every single property in the state of Florida receives a trim notice. Do you want to know why? It's in the statutes. It's law. We have to send it. Everyone gets one, okay? So part of the trim is they're mailed every single August all across the state of Florida. Everyone gets them at the same time. Really. Like, we have like a mailing company that does it, and they've got we're on like strict strategic deadlines to make sure we get these mailed and out, okay? It's a proof sheet. That's what I tell everybody. I call it a proof sheet. We want you to look at it. We want you to call and ask questions. It's a proof sheet. We have 94,000 parcels in Sumter County. You know how many staff we have? 27. There are things that get missed. There are errors that happen. Some things are not right. This is your proof sheet. That's why it's sent. All the stuff at the top, we can't answer those questions. That's your millage rates. We don't set those. It has nothing to do with our office. They're on there so you can see what your last year's millage rates were and your tax dollars were, what your proposed is if the budget's approved, and then your rollback rate, which is if no budget changes were made, this is how much money this taxing authority would have to collect in order to meet their budget. Okay, that's the rollback rate. Everything on the bottom part of the form, that's us. So it gives you and I know you cannot see that, but if you, everyone raise their hand so you know what I'm talking about. The bottom of the form shows your last year's market value and assessed. It shows your assessment value, and it gives you the breakdown, and then below that it shows you your Save Our Homes benefit, what it was last year, what it is this year. It shows you what exemptions you're receiving. It's showing if you're receiving agricultural classification. It gives you a breakdown. You look at it, make sure it's right, okay?
Are you going to 25 days petition?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I missed that part. That's why he's monitoring me. When you receive this trim notice, you have 25 days from the time of mailing per statute to file a petition with the VAB, which is the Value Adjustment Board. Okay?
I want to take a moment to brag here for a minute. 25 days, we sent 91,373 of these trim notices out. Does anybody want to take a guess how many petitions we got in during that time? 58. That's pretty good. I'm proud of that. We typically get anywhere, in the time that I've been in office, we get anywhere from 32 to 58. 58 is probably the highest, but we also have 91,000 parcels. Most counties in the surrounding area get anywhere from 200 to 600. So again, I'm proud of that. We had 0 in the villages. We had 0. We had 2 residential, and they were both from up here in Bison Valley, and one, where was it at? Beaumont. One wanted their value lower, of course, and one wanted their value higher. So that again tells me we must be doing it pretty good, because if somebody wants it lower and somebody wants it higher, we're probably right on the money. But anyway, so that was the only 2 residentials. The rest of them are the CVS's and the Walgreens and the big guys that they send them out by tax reps. Yeah, so those are all going to pretty much go away as well, which happens every year. A tax rep they just send mass paper and make us hop and work for about 2 months and go through the process. But that's okay. If we're off on our trim notice, we're going to fix it. If there's something wrong, I promise you we're going to fix it. If we're not wrong, we're going to let the magistrate decide, and that's okay too.
Okay. So there's some things that when you call us about on your trim notice, there's some things that the Sumter County Property Appraiser's Office cannot handle. Why can we not handle? Because it's statute, and we don't make the laws. We're just here to enforce, is that the word? I don't like that word.
Serve.
That part. We don't want to enforce anything. We're just here to, we take an oath, we're sworn to it. That's what we do, okay? So one of the things that we cannot handle is permit finals and closing dates. We have nothing to do with that, okay? If you close on your, let me start. If your home is finaled via permit by the permitting department in Sumter County, Florida, on December 29th, it's on December 29th. That's when it was finaled. If it was finaled on January 6th, it was finaled on January 6th. There's nothing we can do about that. If you close on December 31st and you sign it and it's notarized on December 31st, there's nothing we can do about that. If it's closed and signed on January 3rd, there's nothing we can do about that. That's when you closed. Why does that matter? Because every part of our statutory obligation is by January 1st. If the home is not complete and finalized by January 1st, guess what? It doesn't go on the tax roll. If you build if you close in and add a whole new, they're not called bird cages anymore. What are they called? Mansard, yeah, whatever they are. You build one of those and if it's finalized on December 29th, it's going to be put on the tax roll for the next year because it was there as of January 1. If it's not finalized until January 6th, guess what? It's not put on the tax roll. It goes a whole year. Okay? We have nothing to do with that. That is statute. January 1 is our date. Okay? That's why I'm saying that that's something we can't help you with. When you final and when you close. You can't qualify for homestead exemption if you didn't have title as of January 1st. So if you didn't close until January 6th, you don't have title January 1. Per statute, you don't qualify for any exemptions. Am I making sense why I'm telling you we can't help you with that? We will talk you through it. We will talk to you multiple times about it. We'll let you vent to us. We'll let you be angry and frustrated. You can send us 3 emails about it a day. There's nothing we can do about it.
We will even agree with you. I had a gentleman last year that took us, petitioned, because the villages finalized his house on December 28th. Now, he didn't close till January 25th, okay? Well, guess what? That home was finalized. We have to pick it up on the tax roll. So here's what I did. I said, look, petition it. I will go across myself, and I will ask the magistrate if he can rule in your favor, please do. And I did. It's on record. I would have loved for the magistrate to change it, but unfortunately, he didn't either because it's statute. And so I asked him, I said, petition it. I'll go across and tell him I'm for you, but I can't change it. So anyway, so those are the things that we have dealing with that. So we do try to help in every way that we can, but as Shauna said, we will listen, we will help you, we will talk you through it. We just can't, it's statute. So anyway, go ahead, Shauna.
We're taking too long, and I don't want to take too long. Yeah, we want questions. Okay, the CPI increases and capping, those are set by the state of Florida. Why is that important? If the market value is increasing and you're under a homestead cap, we can't go up any more than 3%. That 0 to 3% is set by the state of Florida, okay, every year. Assessed value is set by the Florida statutes, okay? So if the market, let's say this next year we're studying sales, and I saw this in 2000 and, what was it? 2000, well, one year that we went down in value, but the CPI increased because the statute reads you're going to get to 100% of that market value no matter what. That's the statute. So they're going to be increasing that CPI. But if your market value comes down and you've got Save Our Home benefit, and the CPI says it's going to go up 2.7%, you increase. So we don't set that assessed value. Okay, I think that we're done. I got more slides, but I have a lot more slides, but we're done because it's running late and everybody's time is valuable.
We want questions. So if you have any, Mike, can you turn the lights up? Okay, if you have some questions, raise your hands. Don't come around with a mic. We need to get those mics are here.
No, you got to keep yours.
Okay, and I don't know if I'll answer or Matt Hall will answer.
Hi. Per your website, you actually say the fair market value of your property is the amount for which it would sell on the open market. With this as the baseline in mind, so when you first purchase your property or whatever, is it fair to say that almost all residential property values are determined based on the recent sales of comparable properties?
Yes.
And that would include all properties?
Well, no.
Okay. Sorry.
No. So in mass appraisal, we're going to be categorizing by like. So it would be villas are given style codes, ranch homes are given style codes, designer homes, premier homes are all given style codes. So they're grouped with their like homes.
It's like the lemons, the apples, and the oranges. They're all going to be grouped in accordingly.
Right. So it's not. It was a pretty vague statement. Like it was broad. I mean, it was very broad, and it's a little bit more defined.
So does that grouping, does that include by year built?
Year built is how do I want to word that? Yeah.
Yes, it can go by age as well.
As well, but not necessarily.
Well, it's depreciated. There's a depreciation factor that's pulled into the year built of the home. So every year that goes by, there's an additional depreciation.
Okay. So I have one more question.
Sure.
Your website also states that the property appraiser has nothing to do with the amounts of taxes levied on or collected. Respectfully, isn't it more accurate to say that the assessed values which your office has prepared, when multiplied by the millage rate decides upon by the taxing authority, directly results in the annual real estate tax liability for property owners?
We do not set tax rates.
That's the millage rate, but
Right.
you set the value that the
Correct.
millage rate, which
Yes,
is
ma'am.
the same for everybody in Sumter County, is determined. So the property value is actually, does affect the tax rate.
It's budgets. So the tax rate is set by whatever that taxing authority needs for their budget to pay the bills.
Can you read that again? Because
So wait,
how
so-
you read that wasn't. Go ahead, read that again.
Yeah. So the website states the property appraiser has nothing to do with the amount of taxes levied or collected.
That is correct.
Correct.
We do not have anything to do with the amount of taxes levied or that's correct.
So doesn't the county take their millage rate, which is fixed for every property, and multiply it against the value?
They do.
Correct.
But that
So
statement is correct.
So the value influences your taxes
Sure.
directly.
Sure, absolutely.
But that
Okay.
statement is correct.
A quick one, we have a request for your website again.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Can I put it up? You know what? Let's see if I'm good. Let's see how good I am. She wanted to see that, so I want to make sure that I've got, oh, no. Okay.
Why don't you just try to read it and
SumterPA.com.
I'm going to keep it up there for her. Oh, we did. Oh, I'm sorry. Yep, it's SumterPA.com. I'm so sorry. If I'd have turned behind me, I'd have seen that.
Two quick questions for you.
Yes.
One is the information that you have was very valuable.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm sure what
I
you
had lots more.
Well, that's what I was going to request is the information that you've given us so far, plus whatever information you weren't able to because of time. Could that be given to the POA or somebody that could be distributed so
Absolutely.
that everybody
Absolutely.
gets the rumors versus the facts, that sort of thing?
Sure.
That's number one. Number two is I got my trim notice.
Yes, sir.
The commissioners are voting on the budget in September.
Okay.
On the back of my trim notice, of course, it's going to be the hot topic of the fire tax.
Right.
And it had what the increase was going to be.
Correct.
Does that mean you're going to send another trim notice out with what the correction is,
No.
or how, if that's supposedly an official document, something's wrong with the date. If you all have it by statute, have to have it out by August, then somebody needs to change, whether it's the commissioners or whatever, so that they have the right amount that reflects what's on the trim as in fact being fact. So whatever the commissioners I know voted down on the fire tax is correct. So I don't know who has to share the responsibility of
so
sending the correct information.
the statute reads that you were noticed, right? So when you received your notice of what the proposed, I don't want to say proposed. Sure, 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 sure. Sure. Right. So we have to, by statute, we've got timelines that say, yeah. So we have to certify by July 1st. We've got 55 days from that certification per statute. Then from that, we've got 25 days per statute. So we were advised to, by the time we had to submit our trims and mail them, there wasn't a hearing. Hearing dates, the fire tax did not have anything to do with this constitutional office. We just had to make sure that we were upholding our constitutional requirements.
That's a Board of County Commission
Right.
question, really. I mean, yeah. But thank you for the question. It was very good.
I don't get it, the portability feature that you spoke of. I sold a house in 2018 and bought a house a little more expensive in the same year. And I had Homestead before, and I have Homestead now. I never heard of portability. Did I miss out on something?
I am going to assume no, but if you will come get my business card and you reach out to me tomorrow, we'll pull up your information, property information, and we'll review it, okay? And make sure that you get an understanding of that.
This may not be for your department.
Okay.
Does Sumter County have title theft procedures in place?
It's not my department, but I can give you insight that the Gloria Hayward Clerk of Court does pay for a service that you can enroll free. Is that something that anybody has any documentation on? The POA does, or anyone individually? That's with the Clerk of the Court, but they do have a service. I know that. I've heard Ms. Hayward speak on it several times, that you can go and enroll. It's a free service to every constituent in Sumter County. You can go and enroll in that, and there's nothing wrong with it. I would recommend it if that's a concern of yours. It's there, it's free, utilize it. Go in and enroll, and it'll let you know if there's anything that's been recorded with your name and your information. I don't really know I don't. I'm so sorry. It's not our office. I'm just trying to let you know that I know for a fact that the Clerk of the Court does have. So I would Google your Sumter County Clerk of the Court, Sumter County, Florida Clerk of the Court, and when you pull up her page, they're notifying you to click here for fraud. It's title fraud, okay? I know that for a fact. Yes, sir.
Do you have any idea when those 2023 tax rates are going to be certified?
Yes.
Can you share them?
You got me. You got me. I don't know those dates.
You mean our values?
Yeah, they've been meeting. Every
tonight,
every. So I can tell you this. I will know. I'm going to certify my statutory forms on Good Lord willing and the creek don't rise. I'm going to certify them to each taxing authority on October 2nd, and they have 3 days per statute to get them back to me, and that's when I will know. And as soon as we get them, before you even get your tax bill, we're going to put them on the website. So when you go to that tax estimator, and it will not update your trim. Trim is done once, but that tax estimator online, it'll show you. We'll have those updated on the website as soon as we get that. So hopefully the first week of October. Does that help? I'm so sorry. I don't want to tell you something.
Again, our values aren't going to change. Our values aren't going to change.
No. What you got on your trim notice for is what it is, okay? But the rates will be approved, and they're doing that right now.
Mr. Hooten, let's go to appraisers and get out of homestead and portability. How do you ensure that all the properties are fairly and equitably appraised and there's no outliers to it?
Well, there's always going to be an outlier somewhere. Matt can answer that better than I can, but there's going to be an outliers, and you want to take that?
Yeah, sure. So we always have outliers. That's just the reality of mass appraisal. But in doing so, the Department of Revenue, which audits our tax roll, they're looking at certain statistical measures that we have to be in compliance with, and so some of those statistical measures are going to ensure the equitability of our tax roll.
All right, let me ask one more about even a more egregious outliers. There is certain taxpayers that are involved in the villages. Example, Mark Morris. We know who Mark Morris is. Jennifer Morris-Poor, Tracy Morris-Matthews, and Whitney Morris. She just sold her house for $2.5 million or somewhere in that range, and it was appraised last year for $66,000, and she paid a total of $12 in taxes. How does that happen?
Well, I'm going to interject right here. I can't. I'm not discrediting what you say. That sounds.
It's on the website.
Right. Yeah. So it's not vacant property. Last year, was it vacant?
No.
Yeah,
It's got a 10,000. It's got a 3,693 square foot house on that she lived in. According
That's
to
only
the realtor.
assessed at $66,000
and
on our-
$570. All right,
I
let's go to Mark Morris.
And let me make sure, because
Get
you've
worse.
got, well you've got your data.
The
I
website.
can't. Yeah, I don't. I'm going to pull up my CAMA system, and if you call our office, we're going to look that up, and call me tomorrow. I'll pull those up. Okay.
If so, how does it
Okay.
happen?
Yeah, that doesn't even sound accurate at all. I don't.
All right, let's
I
just
don't know what you're
maybe
talking about.
maybe a little bit less obvious, but Mark Morris's house, and I respect the man for running the villages, but he's got to pay his fair share of taxes.
Sure.
4,815 square foot house on 21 acres. Last year, its market value was $840,000. Don't buy that. It's less than my house, and I live on a little lot somewhere, and I grow vegetables in the backyard. Paid a taxable value was $668,000. So assessed value. How does that happen?
Again, I can't.
They're all real numbers.
I would love for you to reach out to me tomorrow and let me look at those. Have you ever contacted our office to ask us those questions?
I talked to Matt last week or a couple days ago.
Okay.
About this?
No,
Okay.
I talked to him about in general how to make appraisals fair. And he talked about getting data on selling points, and he talked to data about that you guys acquire a fair amount of information to pick it all out. How do these outliers exist? Because it looks like privileged treatment. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, I'm not aware of that. Again, but if you give me the specifics tomorrow, we'd be happy to look those up for you.
All right.
Okay.
I have a question with the codes that are given to your home.
Mm-hmm.
Our code changed. It went from one code to another code.
Okay.
And then the rate went up from $160 a square foot to $180. So how, when we get the trim notice, we're supposed to look and call you if we notice something wrong, but I don't understand where the codes come from, because homes that are the same, like a Mossy Oak that we have, are a different code than
Okay.
mine is. And other homes are the same code, but they're 5 miles away. So I don't know when the analysis is being done on how much my home is worth, who am I being compared to? Is that code the absolute? Is that what I go by? If I look and I see someone has that same code, then that is in the evaluation that determines my fair market value?
Right, and I don't have the specifics in the PowerPoint, but those were questions that we were going to have Mr. Hall speak on, so I'm going to let him answer that. Okay?
Thanks.
That was part of his presentation.
Well, so we have style codes, and as we said earlier, we have to do mass appraisal. There's no way for us to do a fee world type appraisal on every home that exists in Sumter County. And going back to the outliers and some of the ones that y'all are unhappy about, some of these sales, their sale prices could include personal property in them. There could be a lot of custom work on the interiors of some of these homes that we're not privy to that information. And so it's difficult for us in doing mass appraisal to account for all of the custom work that happens not only in the villages but also in other parts of our county. So as far as the codes, there can be differences, whether that be by square footage, size, shape, roof lines, age of the home, and then certain geographic locations as well. So
when my code changes, what changed about my home? Like it wasn't.
It's an internal. It's an internal code. It's public record. You can have a list. We've published that to multiple people. If you contact our office, we'll send you. But it's an internal code. It doesn't mean anything to you. It doesn't change that you have that mossy oak,
Right.
that
It
you
just
have this much
changed-
square footage.
It just changed the amount of tax.
Yes, ma'am.
that
It
per
changes every
square
year.
foot.
Every year. Your code can change next year. If we're
Okay.
studying the sales, we want to make sure that we have them for our grouping purposes,
Right.
that they're the most closely defined. We've been changing them every single year. We're
Okay.
fine tuning that every single year.
So are the homes within within a mile of my home? Is that the determining factor?
No.
I guess that's what I'm saying is
No.
I don't have a clear understanding of how the market value is established for my home. So if I looked at it and I said, I wonder if this is true, I would be able to closely approximate the mental gymnastics or the protocol or formula that you use.
Okay, so Ms. Riley, your name is Ms. Riley, right? You've contacted our office several times, correct?
Mhm.
I know that there's been multiple phone calls, 45 minutes plus with you, where that we've had staff trying to explain this to you.
I just don't ever get an
And
answer.
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I mean, 45-minute phone call. Yes,
is
ma'am, we
it-
do.
is it-
We spend an extensive amount of time with you.
So it's not a mile, it's whatever you
we're
that's what I'm trying to
so
comprehend.
as I said before, we're audited by the Department of Revenue, and so we have to meet those certain statistical requirements. And so the style code could change from year to year depending on what the sales indicate of that type of home. If it falls in this square footage range, or if it was this year built or age, there's different depreciation. So getting hung up on the base rate is only the starting point of our appraisal process. And so I don't want you to get hung up on just the base rate, because the same rate that works for your house may not work for a courtyard villa or vice versa.
It's going to be higher square foot rate because it's less square footage.
Because every part of our mass
Math.
appraisal process is assessed on square footage rates. There's not one rate that's going to affect everybody equally. There's no way to do a blanket increase across the board for everybody. Depending on the specifics of your home, it could be impacted in many different ways based on the square footage.
So with what you're saying there, so I'm not clear on what you're telling her, but I would think that if I looked at my home and I looked at other homes that are similar to mine, which are boutique whatever homes, that within a reasonable area, homes sold in the same year, built and sold in the same year as mine, should have same square footage, no pool or a pool, should be somewhat similar. And then the taxes on those should be similar if we both lived in our house for years on end.
The taxes,
If there's no improvements, no changes.
The taxes on the same home can be very different because of the assessed values that you may have, any portability that you could bring with you from
Right, but what I'm saying is we both bought the house at the same time, same
Mhm.
year, let's say 2015.
And no one brought in any portability.
Nobody brought in any
Okay.
portability.
Mhm.
$850,000 both. Each year, we've both lived in the house for 15 years. Our taxes should roughly
Yes.
be the same. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, are there any other questions? Okay, seeing none. Mr. Hooten and the staff, thank you very, very much. Hopefully we got the answers to most of the questions we want. And feel free to give them a call in their office tomorrow if you have any questions that come up. We have donuts and coffee in the back. Thank you all for coming, and we'll see you next month.